So for this video, I'm going to show you a few of my favorite houseplants and how they grow in my home here in Northwest Ohio. And also keep in mind critters that you may have that you share your home with, like Kenny here. And right over here is Oliver, who, do you have to go potty? You have to go potty? That's the, I gotta go potty look. Dang it, I'll be right back. Okay, so a friend online had mentioned that they didn't have a lot of light in their house. So I wanted to show you my absolute favorite houseplant that takes very low light. It's right here. All right, here it is, my all-time favorite indoor plant for low light. And it is called, it is pronounced the red Alonima. I cheated and used the pronunciation app. For the longest time I had it sitting over here, but I've moved some of my amaryllis bulbs over here just because it's a reminder I need to pot them or do something. They're looking really crazy right now. Oh, that's a whole nother video. So I know Ollie wants to go outside again. This one's doing really great. I believe this is called the tree Philodendron. It does really well. I even have one out in my dome garden. And I've kind of turned it where it gets more light right here. So, and as you can tell, there's some new sprouts coming out of it. I actually bought, anyhow, this is all I could find locally when I was at the store the other day. I'm going to take this and actually put it along the bottom just because I don't like looking at the soil. And I don't want any of my pets getting into it because someone likes to sniff soil. Don't you, Ollie? Okay, so let's head over to this corner here. Right over here. This is the east, southeast kind of facing window. And these plants, this one I just recently put here. It was in my sunroom in another east facing window, and I'll show you that window in a minute. But I love this plant. I actually divided this into 3 different plants. It was loving it over where I had it. And it's just a really pretty plant. And as you can tell, there's even some new growth coming up already. At the bottom, I've got rocks down there. And there's the rocks. And I keep it somewhat dry. It likes it pretty dry. Look close. Can you read the tag? I've had this plant for 7 years and it does amazing. And it wasn't until today I realized it was an Aglaonema. Just like the red one. And over here is just kind of my little window garden I've got going on. Here's an air plant. I've never had success with these. In fact, this one needs to be soaked in some water for a short time. It's, oh, check it out. It's like rooting into the soil here. With the aloe plants, which I hope this one gets as big as this one. This one I've had for quite a few years. Just a really interesting plant. Now over here, I've got another little baby aloe going. And these little guys I picked up the other day at Walmart. I love these in the summertime. In fact, I'll have to show a picture of what this does. It's just gorgeous. Here it is. This is the first one I ever grew. It was quite a few years ago. It loves the sun. If you put it in the sun, it gets red like this. And it's called the Flapjack. When it's in the hot sun, this thing is going to get huge once summer comes and the heat kicks in. It loves the heat and dry and full sun. So if I can just keep it dormant and keep it living until summer comes, that's kind of the idea inside my house. The conditions allow them. If I keep an eye on them, they stay alive. And I'm happy with that. We got some crazy stuff going on in here. All right, so this is actually doing really well over here. The key, I'm actually keeping it watered. Don't let it get too dry, which I need to water it. And I put this bamboo in just to see what it would do because it came with the bamboo. It's not climbing it. It seems to like to trail down, which is neat because I've seen that in restaurants. It's kind of like that. I have these little babies, these little baby aloe plants that are doing just fine. I just kind of stick the little cups in there. It's like a little garden outside, inside, in the window. And there it is. You like that? Yeah. So, all right, so we're gonna head right over here to these new plants I just picked up. This is the first kind of small orchid I've ever had. I mean, this is small compared to, I've never had one this small blooming. I bought it that way. It was on clearance actually at Kroger, so always check the clearance department. I was pretty excited about that. It's called espresso orchid. Huh, interesting. I don't think I read the tag. That's cool. But it's doing pretty well. I need to mist the leaves a little bit, or the petals, because they're getting a little dry. But not bad for markdown. And this was a find at Costco this weekend. This Lucky Bamboo. Pretty excited about that. They had those for $19. And these are kind of neat. Look, there's a bunch of them, and they're just kind of woven. This has got some new growth coming out of it, so I kind of left it in this darker room. It seems to like it, so there's no windows in here really. I'm kind of embarrassed. I've got these huge windows in my sunroom and no plants in them except for in a few locations, which I'm going to show you. I've got this one. It's doing great. I ordered this on Amazon. Oliver's having fun with his toy. Oh my goodness. This house plant, I actually divided into 3. It was huge. I did that last in the autumn when it was getting too cool outside to work. I actually got 3 nice sized plants out of it. This is one of them. One I gifted to my daughter. And I love it because this has actually got, since I divided it, it's got some new growth, which is awesome. So maybe in another year here, I'll be able to divide this. I really need to get in there with my spray and just kind of moisten them a little. The houseplants seem to like that. And just that one. And this, look at it, it's doing great. It loves it right here. Must be all this natural light coming in. I was a little worried just because it's so dry. It can be dry in this room because of this, the wood stove. All right, so here's another one of those little plants I bought on Amazon last autumn. It's doing really well. I decided to try hanging it on the wall here to see what it would do, and it seems to like it. I think it would be a little bit more full or longer, but a couple of times I forgot about it over Christmas and it got pretty, it was forgiving, thank goodness, because I've never had them be so forgiving in the past. And so I'm gonna keep that watered, maybe give it a little food and see if I can get that to grow a little longer. It'd be kind of neat if I could get it to drape all the way down. We'll see. There's where the original was, and this is a third of it after I divided it in autumn. It's doing really well. It actually has new growth on it here. So it likes this corner here, which is south facing. Gets a nice light, not direct light. And of course this one is doing quite well. And it's also a nice one. Now this one likes a lot more sun, I noticed. It likes to be in the window. So that one, I don't know if I'd really recommend that for low light like the other plants. Okay, so we're gonna head back into my cave. Okay, so this room does not get a whole lot of light during the winter. Well, what room does, except for the dome, really. I'm gonna keep the lights off in here just so I can show you what these plants are getting in here. So check this out. So right over here, I've got this huge container. There are maybe 5 different plants in here. And the one that is doing really well is the vine, of course. I found this when we joined Sam's Club this winter at Christmas time, and it was marked down to $15. What a steal. One of these little vines broke off, and actually, if you look really close here, it looks like I could actually break this off and root it, which I'll show you in the other room. I've got one of those going and it's working quite well for me. But this was quite a deal. In fact, one of my next videos, I'll have to share opening this plant up. But for now, I really like the little zone over here because everything's doing well, except of course, the poinsettia that was in there has kind of died back, but that's fine. Shh. More fake plants. Hey, I miss my dahlias, so I've got some silks in my bathroom. But I came in here to show you this plant over here. It fell off actually. It just kind of fell out of the plant a few months ago. And so this one did. So I went ahead and put it in just tap water. And look, I've got roots, so I actually need, those roots are long enough. I really should get this into some soil and make a new plant. Maybe I'll try these out in the dome to see how they do. Who knows? Shh, Jack's sleeping. Hi, Jack. Hi, Jack. He's my little stinker. I gotta watch him with houseplants. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You are a stinker. All right, so there's my picks for low light indoor houseplants that work for me in my home here in Northwest Ohio, which is hardiness zone 5B if you're into that. And yeah, I hope this video helped you out. You can find the list with the proper spelling of all the plants that I recommended today on my website at brenhaus.com. I also have a book review I'd love for you to check out. It's one of my absolute favorite books about houseplants called Houseplants Handbook by David Squirrel. Check it out. It's over on my website at brenhaus.com.